Greetings, all. Hope you are well. Morning, afternoon, evening. So, I did want to, before I jump into this week's topic on the formation of the priest, wanted to give you guys a little bit of an update to the Google Classroom schedule. Due to our closed campus, a couple things have been moved around. So, you will notice that this week, highlighted here, is going to be kind of a light week. I've moved the virtues around. I want to continue to offer education on the virtues as a whole group in the classroom setting. So, God willing that we return to the campus, we will resume our study on the virtues. If we do not return to the campus, that will obviously change, and I'll give you that information through the Google Classroom. Anyway, just wanted to let you guys know that all the virtues from the next 3 weeks, basically from March 23rd all the way until Christmas break, have been moved to these 3 weeks. All right, so you'll notice that there's 2 virtues each week. So we'll make time in class if we're to resume back at campus for that. And possibly push them into the last 2 weeks here. So there are some changes. This week's a relatively light week. I'm going to give you a lecture on the formation of a priest, and then you have a part review due on Friday, as is usual. We go into next week, the 30th through the 3rd, and that's section 4, part 1. You'll have a couple of activity. I'll give you another lecture and an activity, and then your part review again will be due on Friday. And then going into Holy Week, right before we go for Easter break, we'll be in part 2 of section 4. You'll have a couple more activities and a part review. So I will try to divide out the assignments relatively evenly, just to make it a little bit lighter for you, but please stay in tune with the Google Classroom, and then you will be able to stay up to date on what's been going on. This can snowball pretty badly if you don't check in on the Google Classroom regularly. Do not neglect it, please, because the grades for this semester are still going to continue to be entered, and I'll be able to do that more readily now that we're not in the classroom. Okay, so please stay in tune with that. So let's go ahead and jump into the lecture for this week on priestly formation. And then later on this week, I will be posting the assignment for your part review. It's a 6-question part review for this week, so relatively shorter, about average though. All right, so make sure you view this lecture, see the lecture notes, because it will come into play for your part review that is due on Friday. All right, let's go ahead and jump on into the lecture. Relatively short one today on the formation of the priest. I will be embellishing quite a bit because I've had some personal experience in this area. For as many of you know, I was discerning to be a priest for the Diocese of Sacramento, and a lot of these stages that these men go through are the stages that I went through, obviously minus the last one, ordination, right? So let's go ahead and jump on in. What does it take to discern and ultimately be ordained to the priesthood? Well, like all good things, the family is the first stage of formation. And this is something that happens through parental self-sacrifice. The parents give of themselves to build a home space that offers a place where young men and women can discern God's will for them and hopefully receive support from their parents. I can speak for myself here. When I was very young, my grandmother would babysit myself and my brothers because both my parents worked. And when I would go to daily mass with my grandma and my grandma would tell me stories nowadays of when I was a little kid and how I was really kind of unbashful. I like to go up to people at mass and start conversations, even as a 4, 5, 6 year old. I wasn't very shy, and I liked being in the community of faith believers. I really enjoyed going to mass with my grandparents and the festivities that went after mass. building that community together, even as a little boy. And that was through the support of my grandparents and my mom and dad. And it carried on through even when I wasn't really thinking about discerning the priesthood. Whatever I was feeling like I was called or pulled to do in my life, I always had a very strong family base that was supportive and gave me a lot of good advice on how to follow God's will in my life. And it's the same thing for the formation of the priest. So discernment, I've thrown that word out a couple times already. What does it mean to discern? Well, it comes from the Latin word meaning to separate or distinguish between. So when you discern or when you have a discerning moment, you are trying to look at, it's like a fork in the road. You're trying to look at where these different paths will take you. If you felt like you were called to be a vet, well, that means that you probably have some kind of passion for animals or maybe some kind of passion for healing or medicine. And there are some forks in the road that come from that. Let's say you really love animals. Well, now the fork in the road becomes, well, how do you want to be around animals in your life? Do you want to train animals? Do you want to heal animals, breed animals? There's a lot of forks in the road there. So discernment offers you the opportunity to kind of separate and distinguish between the different paths that God may be pulling you towards. Discernment is the practice of listening for God's call in our lives, and when making moral choices, distinguishing between good and bad choices. So discernment is not only just the path in life that you choose, but in the small moments of everyday life where you're presented with decisions to make, right? Whether they be good decisions to make or bad decisions. How do we know what's good and bad? Well, we use our power of discernment. We use our ability to distinguish or separate between what is good and what is bad. And the same goes for the early stages of discerning the priesthood. So as you go through the first formation of your family life, and then you start developing qualities and talents and skills and abilities, and also developing your ability to discern, the next stages that usually occurs is that young men who are considering the priesthood contact what is called a vocations director. Vocations directors for the diocese and for religious orders help a young man to discern whether he is being called to the priesthood. So for me at the time when I was entering, there was a priest that I had to meet with as well. His name was Father Brian, and he was a parish priest at one point. At that time, he was the vocation director. I entered through him. And then shortly after I entered the seminary, it was actually our own Father Chuck who was the vocation director for the first couple of years of my formation. Vocation directors come and go. It's not a life office, right? So the bishop will assign the vocation director, who is normally a priest. In this Diocese of Sacramento, we have a priest, a nun, and a layperson who kind of lead the direction of the office of vocations. So a lot of people are involved in this. There's a lot of support that's already kind of offered right off the cuff. If a young man is considering the priesthood, or even if a young woman's considering becoming a nun, there are vocation directors for that way of life as well. And as you can see here, there is a general list of vocation directors for the priesthood in this site below, which I recommend checking out. You'd probably be a little blown away about how many different types of vocation directors there actually are, especially in the United States. It is quite a big ministry. All right. So after those stages have been completed and you go through the process of entering into a seminary, which is the school of theology and philosophy and basically the academic formation of all our priests around the world. The first stage of the seminary training is called pre-theology or minor seminary. The first 2 to 4 years of formal training dedicated to the study of philosophy, dedicated to the study of Latin and Greek, and pastoral experiences are required during the summers. Those general points are mostly United States requirements. I could tell you now that I spent 4 years studying philosophy, and I did take some Latin. I did take some I didn't take any Greek, but I did take a lot of sacrament and scripture courses. Um, and I also majored in, I'm sorry, not, yeah, majored in literature alongside philosophy. So I spent a lot more time in the realm of literature as well. And my pastoral experiences were basically in the summer. I move around a few times. I spent some time in Chico and Folsom. I did some pastoral work in Sacramento. And, they do tend to move you around quite a bit. So that was when I was finishing up my college in the minor seminary after I had transferred out of Butte College and Chico State. So all young men who feel the call to the priesthood complete a pre-theology or before theology studies minor seminary training. The second stage of the seminary is the theological studies. So this is where the big stuff comes in, which is more oriented towards the priesthood itself. So seminaries study four areas of theology: dogmatic, moral, spiritual, and sacred scripture. So every priest has a master's in divinity, which covers those four sections. They also have what's called a sacred theology baccalaureate, which is basically a bachelor's in sacred theology. Um, those would be the requirements, especially in our diocese. And I was also pursuing a master's in sacred scripture. I've always had a kind of a deep love and longing to study scripture. And many seminaries in the major seminary, this would be major, we just discussed minor, now we're in the major seminary stage. Many major seminaries offer other master degrees for students who want to just deepen their theological prowess. So I was given the opportunity to study sacred scripture. But those other four areas, there's a good balance of each. So the dogmatic would be the study of truth and faith. Moral would be the study of right and wrong. Spiritual would be the study of prayer and spirituality within the church. And sacred scripture, obviously, Old and New Testament studies. And then finally, the last slide here is personal formation continues in various ways. I've been talking a lot about the academic side of the formation of the priest, but there are other sides too. Meeting regularly with the spiritual director, supervise service assignments such as visiting nursing homes, hospitals, teaching religious education, or helping the poor in shelters or soup kitchens, working alongside a pastor or priest during the summers in local parishes. Absolutely crucial. So there's not just the academic side that's nourished for the formation of the priest. They look at the spiritual side, they look at the human side, and they look at the pastoral side as well. So you have academic, spiritual, human, and pastoral. Um, and so when you meet with your spiritual director, you're building yourself up spiritually for the life of the priest. When you're doing assignments in the world, when you're being engaged with other human beings in many different areas, that's developing the human side of the priest. And then working alongside another priest or a pastor develops the pastoral side of the priest. That'd be kind of like the business side of the church. What does a priest do that keeps a parish running, right? So those are kind of the things that go into play for the formation of the priest. And it'll also be stuff that you will be reading about in part 3 of section 3 this week. So make sure that you resort to my lecture notes and to this recording to help kind of supplement your reading, and make sure that you are reading from your textbook so that you're able to complete the assignments. This will be in your Google Classroom, so make sure you attune to that. The part review is on page 144, and it's numbers 1 through 6 this week, okay? So that's all from me, and I will hear from you guys either through email if you have any questions. Other than that, stay tuned for next week as well. We'll be moving into our new section, and new topics will come from that. All right? So until next time, stay well, stay safe, and God bless.